Good evening, viewers, wherever you are. This is Afrique24 and Zalendo. I went out there to find about the facts about this housing that everybody is talking about, this housing that people don't want to hear about, this housing that people are saying they're being overtaxed. We want to look at what the PS for housing is saying. So facts are sometimes very, very stubborn. You know, when you want the real facts, go to the real people who are in charge of this housing. Don't listen to your politicians, because these politicians peddle a lot of lies. Once they get the microphone, they get excited. They want you, they want to ignite the masses with a lot of lies. So let us look into the facts about housing. When it started with Uhuru Kenyatta, and I have the PS for housing here, Mr. Inga, who is ready to shed the light in his previous interviews with one of the journalists that
let me tell you the truth. There is a system, and the system rules were very clear. You need to have your profile to be 100%. Okay? Then you needed to have paid 12.5%. The minute you pay your 12.5%, there is a timestamp that you get. And anybody, number 1 to 1370, that were on the timestamp 100% and they had paid, they got an offer letter. They got an offer letter. If I go to Park Road, I can tell you, there are many people I don't know that live there. All right? So we had certain ring-fenced classes. For example, 60% of all those units went to civil servants. Why? That is their land. It is their land. So initially it was 50%, but the interest in civil service was very high. Out of the 60% from civil servants, 40% went to the police. We have military living in there. I have CBK watchmen and security guards living in there. My friend, don't tell me that these houses were allocated based on Kimenyano. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. And you know why that was important is because when you think about why was there a lot of resistance initially, one of the reasons why there is a resistance is trust. And I understand why. You know, you come in here, oh, you hear this, money has been lost. Oh, there was this one, money got lost. Oh, there was this, whatever that was supposed to be built, money got lost. Everything, every day, you just hear is money getting lost. We made a deliberate decision that we're going to disempower ourselves. Okay? There was no law that says, Hinga, you cannot allocate. No. I disempowered myself. My own mother was saying, hey, now, son of my mother of a PS. I said, Mama, what are the rules? Do your profile. Okay, here is your SSD. Pay your deposit. Ukitaka kuja kwangu, nenda kusaidia ulipe deposit. And she didn't even get a home. Okay, she paid some money, but she was not one of the 1,370. Why? Because we disempowered ourselves. Why? Because we wanted to bring trust. Trust with you as a member of the public. Now, there's another layer of trust that we created, and maybe we don't even talk about it. Your money, how are we going to protect it? Because you hear about all these funds, you hear pension funds, NHIF, you hear there's so many scandals. Well, some real, I don't know whether some, so I am not here to say they are real. But you just hear many stories. So what did we do? We determined that money we were not even going to keep it here. We're not going to keep it here. So who did we appoint? We appointed 3 service providers. Who are they? An administrator, independent, Zamara. That is an actuarial firm. What do? They're actually the one who interact with you. They send you statements, they send you a reconciliation, they tell you you've paid these, and all that. It was not government officials, because sometimes even to send you a statement, karatasi hatuja print, siju kuna procurement, kuna nini. No, we said, what shall we give professionals to do that? Then when your money came in, it didn't even come to a government account. It went into a custodial bank, which was KCB. Now, KCB cannot I cannot even tell them what to do with that money, because they are guided by custodial rules. Because that money, it is custodial for you, not for me. So the houses are built, they are completed. The administrator then will issue a notice, pay developer so and so. They are 5 billion. We pay developer so and so 5 billion. We start allocating based on a fair, transparent process on a first come, first serve basis. All right? And then, because this is a lot of money, 9 billion, and I'm not paying certificates every month and so on and so forth, we needed to invest it. Because now if I take your money, because I'm telling you, in 7 years, if you don't get it, come and withdraw it, plus a return. So how do I guarantee you a return? We hired Britam through a competitive process to be our fund managers. So that money they were going to invest, whether it bonds and invest in whatever, but it was going to be invested. It's not just sitting in an account. So it was going to be earning more money. That's how I was going to guarantee you that in 7 years, your 1,000 cumulatively, I'll pay you back, plus a return. So there's a lot of stuff that is about misinformation and so on and so forth. Now, if you ask me, I don't want to call it a regret. It's just one of those things that are very difficult to control. Was the people that bought those houses, okay? Because there's a form there you fill. First, we prioritize first-time homeowners. Yes. Okay, that was one of the rules. First-time homeowners, we prioritize people living with disability. In fact, all the ground floor units, we had said, let's check how many people are living with disability. We're going to prioritize them on the ground floor units, and so on and so forth. The only regret is that majority of the people decided to rent them out. Now, why did they rent them out? Okay? Why did they rent them out? They rented them out because in Park Road, it's probably one of the best addresses for a working family. Okay? Now, I hear the rentals that are being earned are crazy. That room, you said 40 square meter, 2 bedroom, some of it is going for 40,000 shilling. But this fellow is only paying 15,000. So anasema haya, I am a homeowner now. Okay, it's not a crime. But they decide they're going to rent somewhere else. Sasa amekuwa investor. So I wish there is a way in which we can try and contain people so that but then we'll later have to come biometric. So we are going to invest more money that we need to invest in housing. But ultimately, I believe that this only gets solved when you leverage large economies. Right now it just looks like a big deal, but when everybody has housing everywhere in an address that they like, okay, then those rentals were actually going to come down. But right now is a supply and demand rule. It is it's highly demanded place. Okay, so those who hiyo karumu nasema hivyo, someone is willing to pay 45,000, some are willing to pay 75 CG for the 3-bedroom. It's crazy. The public housing was targeting majority of the working people, especially in the urban areas. Okay? Now, when you think of where are they coming from, the modalities of even the typologies were all driven by the costing. Okay? It's all about the costing. Today, if the people who walk from Mukuru to industrial area or from Kibera to industrial area, they live in a 3x4 shack, has flying toilets, no electricity, water is, in fact, that's what they call the penalty of poverty. They pay more for water than you and I. Okay, they pay more for water, and that's why this president, and let me tell you, let me just say, and I digress a little bit. This country, you will remember President Uhuru Kenyatta. A few years from now, you will remember him with a lot of nostalgia. Let me tell you, he's a patriot. What, for example, he has done in the informal settlements here, taking away the water cartels and made sure that those people don't have to buy water. That doesn't make for good headlines. Putting roads, and by just doing the roads, people have started building better houses for themselves. Okay? Let's get back to the typology. So you're coming from 4x3. You're married. You have kids. Now, let me give you my own experience. That is what I came up from there. I was born in an informal settlement. I was born in Bondeni, Nakuru. I grew up in Kaptembwa and Kwaronda. That is where I grew up. I grew up in a place where I had 3 sisters at the time, and we had 1-roomed house. And our parents had like a small pazia, and they're the only ones who had a bed. I didn't know what it is to sleep in a bed until many years later. That is majority of our people. Okay? So you go and talk about this house in Park Road, 40 square, has a bedroom that is enough for you to put a double-decker bed, has master and suite that your father and your mother, their dignity is protected. Okay? And there is enough space, yeah, for you to stay and to play. I give you, let's take Park Road for example. There is a basketball court. There is a small garden there. There is a running track. That's a quality of life that you associate with people living in Runda. So you can talk about the typology, but surely the quality of life is not the same. It is not the same as from where we are taking you from. But more importantly, is that I'm saying that you don't have to rob a bank for you to be able to live decently. A country that does not know how to take care of its vulnerable people is a problem. And remember, the affordable housing or the housing is your right. It is a right. It is actually one of those bills. It's unqualifiable right. The question is, how do we fund that right? Okay? So there is choice. You can take up those houses. Now, I have some friends. We call them matatu stage workers, not matatu owners. Makanga, that are resident in Park Road, 14 of them. You go and tell that person you're not living in a decent home. So I think that is more of an, they are now coming and saying, can we bring more people? I have 55 Juakali artisans who made those doors in Park Road. Today they are homeowners there. All right? They are homeowners there. You go and tell them, today they're telling me we have 108 of us who need those homes. Okay? So, first, there is choice. I'm not whipping you to say, lazima uingie nyumba. Abana. But depending on the size of your pocket, there is something for everybody. Because if you only try and solve for one, whatever, you're then going to have a lot of challenges. Even in the informal settlements, we have a product for them. We have a social housing. I am financing them at 3%. 3%. I have, in this other place we've said now we're at 9%. We've just passed one of the laws that we've changed is mortgage relief. Mortgage relief, and you need to talk to your employer. You take a mortgage, and I slash another 3%. So your interest now is at 6%. My friend, let me tell you, that's how you're going to be able to pay 10,000, 15,000 for you to own a 3-bedroom home.
There have been concerns raised about who is benefiting from these houses. Some argue that the low-income individuals who are targeted may be unable to raise the 12.5% of the home value required to participate. What do you have to say about that?
Now, let me just first of all put it this way. That deposit is very important, okay? Because it is part of the contribution that we all need, okay? So that we can make sure that more people get it. Number one. Number two, it will still lower. With your deposit, it means your monthly payments are lower. So a deposit plus less interest rate plus longer period to pay. It means that you whatever pay less. Now, let me tell you my own experience with Kenyans based on this interaction. My experience is that Kenyans are very enterprising. I had a lady walk into my office. And I had no appointment, no nothing. She came in here. She wanted to know, mambo ya boma yangu, is it real? Is it a scam or whatever? I told her, Mami, no, it is real. So she asked me, so what do I need? So I went through, hey, go fill in this, there's a USSD code, and then pay. Then she kept quiet, took out her phone, I guess she was doing some calculation. She calculated, and then she said, so are you saying that if I pay this 12.5%, I think she wanted a 3-bedroom house, was maybe 325,000. I will get a house. I say, if you're first through the gate, you will get an offer letter. She kept quiet. She took her calculator again, and she calculated. Little did I know what she does. She sells eggs, and she worked out how many trays of eggs she will have to sell for her to get her deposit. Okay? That determination is what I've come to associate with majority of Kenyans. Now, let me surprise you. Out of those 1370 units, I received deposits for over 33,000 Kenyans. Okay? 33,000 Kenyans went, they filled in their profile, and they paid. That's why you needed a transparent system of allocation, because if you have 33,000 and you have only 1,370, all right? Today, as I sit here, I have over 1.5 billion in that Bomayango account. Okay, with the KCB, the collection account, I have over 1.5 billion. People have refused to ask for a refund. Okay, why? Because they are waiting now for the next one that is coming, so that they are fast through the gate. All right? So, the only way you deal with the disquiet is by building more. And how do you build more? You must be able to attract the investors. And how do you attract the investors? You need to tell them that this is a profitable asset class, and that you don't have to worry about Wanjiko and how their finances look. Look into the government of Kenya. When you hear about this Eurobond, when we go to the Eurobond market, Kenya is such an attractive investment destination that investors give us $2 billion plus an extra. Now we have to decide, do we need, they call it a tap. Do we go for a tap? Tuongeza ile tumechukua, all right? Because it's allowed, right? Because guys are oversubscribing, okay? That is good. Sometimes we don't, I know when you read the papers and you watch Citizen and all that or whatever, this country, we all have bad news. And I don't think we give ourselves a lot of credit as a country. And we are a noisy democracy, which I like, okay? But the reality of the matter is that this is an attractive investment destination. So if you can be able to tell the investor, don't look at Wanjiko, look at the government of Kenya. If you're willing to lend the government of Kenya $2 billion, and you're left with people who are angry because we didn't take all your money, why can't we create an investment, but you still look through to the Kenyan government? And I give you what is called an offtake guarantee. Build, this is a specification, complete, give me keys, I pay you. And how do I pay you? Through the collective. It's a SACCO, it's a national SACCO. You know, that's, you understand SACCOs. So housing fund was a national SACCO. Let's collect money together, right? Tusaidiane, all right? But I'm not asking you to take your entire, it's only 1,000 shillings for majority of the people. And for me and you, maybe 2,000. Okay? And the investor is happy, they're happy, and they're now looking for the next land. Where do we build? We're going to go to Machakos, go to Taita Taveta, the Bomet. We have, you know, that's how you're going to create the momentum.
With the housing projects having more than 4 floors, that means that there are lifts. And the lifts means that there's going to be a charge, an extra charge for service charge. What do you have to say to people who are saying affordable housing is supposed to be bringing down the costs, and here are some amenities like lifts which will now bring the cost up?
So let me first of all make it very clear. If you want to be a homeowner, you better behave like a homeowner. All right? It's very important that you do that. Okay? And as a homeowner, service charge is a way of life. You have to pay service charges. Why? Because you need to protect your asset. It is yours. Then you have common areas. If you don't, if you're going to be renting, nobody's going to come in there, even if it is your neighbor, and arusha rubbish everywhere. Okay? So service charges are a concomitant of home ownership. It goes hand in hand. Okay? Now, let me surprise you, because I want to disabuse the fact that, lifts add a lot of cost. Lifts don't add a lot of cost. I can tell you that for a fact. They don't. Yeah, lift or whatever shaft is 5 million. Okay? Now, there is a maintenance. The issue is about having an estate management of homeowners. And you pay your service charges. And if the lift breaks down, you're able to call whoever is in your panel and they fix it. Let me give you an example in Kibera, Soweto. We build houses, although they don't have lifts. If there is an estate I am so proud of, is Soweto. It's I think about 822 units that we built in Soweto, my friend. Of all the portfolio I have, it is the least where I have defaults. So this notion that, poor people, how do they pay? Let me tell you, when you go to Soweto A and you go talk to Shiko, she's there. And she tells you and she shows you where she came from. And she says, let me tell you, PS, the first money I get, I pay for this house. Why? Because I know if I lose this house, where I'm going to go and how far back in the queue I will go. They have seen the indignity. Now you've given them dignity. They will pay. So, and they pay their service charges. Go to that estate today and you tell me this is an informal settlement. You will tell me, no, this is not an informal settlement. So the issue about service charge to me is neither here nor there. There is no, that there's going to be such a material amount because it's a lift or no lift. But the last point I want to make on that, and remember we started by saying about the cost of land in Nairobi. Nairobi has grown in an unplanned way for many years. If you look at Eastlands, for example, it is over 1,300 hectares. But we only have 47,000 units in Eastlands. Okay? We have done an Eastlands regeneration that is going to quadruple those units to 166,000 units. But how do we do that? We can only go up. You remember, when you go up, you're not paying for the air rights. But when you go and take a brot, you're paying for that soil there. All right? So it's very, very important to understand that one of the ways of lowering the cost of ownership is by going up, especially in urban areas. In rural areas, we don't have those issues. We have other issues that we must be able to tackle.